All-Stars have scheduled 63 races this season in 10 states so far. They've had 6 different winners in 10 races. So certainly you can look for a good one here this evening as well. Okay, I'm Roy Salt. This is Kenny Jacobs. We're in the pit area here at Casey Raceway this evening, the 20th anniversary All-Star race. And Kenny's got some new scenery here this evening. You can probably see it in the background there. Kenny, a number 6. This is unusual. How did you come about that?
Well, I was down in Florida getting ready for the All-Star season to start, and Tim Hughes called me while I was down there and said he wasn't going to race this year. So I ran Junior Holbrook's car down in Florida when I was there, and came home, and it's a very inopportune time to find out you don't have a ride at the beginning of the season. So my wife and I sat around a little bit and decided we'll just put our own car together and we'll race a little bit, and maybe something good will come along, and if it doesn't, we'll keep trying to get sponsors on our own team and run our own team.
Kenny, I noticed you was also in the Hallie Gleason car down there. I announced at Volusia County, and you were in the Hallie Gleason car for a while too.
Yeah, I almost left that out. Yeah, I did run Howie's car a little bit, and I actually thought I was going to run Howie's car a little in some of the TV races, and evidently that didn't pan out. Howie and I couldn't stay in contact for some reason after I got back, and that kind of persuaded us to go this way a little more. So
yeah, that's the reason I brought it up, is just due to the fact that I thought, you know, you had something going there.
Yeah, I did too, but it didn't pan out.
Okay, and by golly, I'll tell you what, I wish you the best of luck here this evening, and that number 6 to the front.
Well, I thank you, Roy. It's going to be tough. I got Barry Jackson helping me, which was just a great plus to get Barry back. I feel like he's one of the best mechanics in the whole country, and it works out good. He's got a family and a good job, and he can't go all over the country racing, so this worked out good for him, and we're going to win our share of the races, and we'll get some financial backing as we go, and this number 6 will be a lot of races.
Kenny, once again, good luck.
All right, Roy, thank you.
Talking to Jim Neer, who drives car number 00. Jim, you had a real successful time the last time out with the All-Stars.
Yeah, it turned out a lot better than it started, I tell you. We fought motor problems all night long, but this is racing. You never know how it's going to go.
Seems to me you got everything going your way right now. I know you've been here a couple of times, didn't have things quite like you wanted them, but now I think you got things on the road.
Yeah, I mean, we're going forward instead of back, Roy. Like I say, you never know. You never know. This is racing.
Okay, you're satisfied with the motors and everything?
No, not really, not yet. We're still working on our motor program. I think our car's up to par, but we're still working on our motor program.
Okay, I see Bob Williams. He's the motor man here with you this evening. Listen to it very intently, so maybe we can do something here in that area this evening.
Yeah, Bob, he's the man. He's been with us for a long time. His head's really the ticket now.
Well, Jim's the former track champion here at KC Raceway. So, Jim, I'll tell you what, you got it cut out for you this evening.
Yeah, a lot of competition, ain't there, Roy?
Good luck, Jim Neer.
Thanks a lot.
again, race fans. I'm Roy Salt, the KC Raceway track announcer, along with Casey Kane out of the state of Washington, and certainly one of the diversified drivers that we have along the All-Star Trail. And as I understand, you're doing very well.
Yeah, we've been doing pretty well so far. At the 2 Eldora shows, the first race, I think we had a top 5 car, and I don't know, I got into the wall early in the race, so we didn't get to finish. But the second race, we finished 3rd, and got a lot of seat time there, so that helped out a lot.
Casey, do you bring along your own pit crew?
Yeah, I got my cousin works for me, and then I got a guy that worked for Tyler Walker the last couple of years, Scott Vogelson, and he's my crew chief. And then my dad comes out and helps a lot, and my sister, she helps us with other stuff. So yeah, I got my own crew.
You're 19 years old. When did you get started? Started in go-karts or what?
I didn't get started till I was 15 in mini sprints, and then I raced 2 years of mini sprints, and then went to sprint cars, the 360 class, and then this is my first full season with just 410s.
You plan to run with the All-Stars the full season?
Yeah, that's our goal, is to run with them most of the whole season, as long as we, don't crash too many cars and be able to stay out here.
As I understand, that's already been a problem. As I understand, also, this is probably a new chassis this evening.
Yeah, last night we tried to race a non-wing show, a USAC show, and we were running real well. Didn't qualify too good, but I was passing a guy for 7th, and got together with him, flipped over, and ruined the car pretty good. So yeah, we built that car all last night and haven't got much sleep, but it's a nice car.
That's got something to say for your pit crew. I guess they worked on it till 5 o'clock this morning, or started on it at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, we didn't start. We got back to the shop at like 4 o'clock Indianapolis time, and then just started working and left there about 1 today to come here. So I mean, we haven't got much sleep at all, but we got a lot of work done.
Casey, this is your first appearance ever at KC Raceway. You've had an opportunity to look at the track. What do you think?
It's a nice track. One of my favorite tracks is Skagit Speedway, and that's up in Washington, where we're from. And it's got a wall, but they're kind of similar tracks. KC's got a little bit more banking towards the top of the track, but other than that, they're real close to the same size.
Casey, good luck this evening.
Thank you.
Here. 12.696 was his lap as he took it off, and there he comes back up. 12.696 will be the official time for Brian Carlson in that car number 18 out of Linden, Indiana. 11.175 is the track record here. Kenny Jacobs out of Holmesville, Ohio, who's driving that car number 6, is the track record holder. $11,620. $11,478, the fastest qualifier so far. Kenny Jacobs, let's give it to Kenny Jacobs as he goes by. 11,478, the fastest lap so far. Jonathan Stevens out of Chillicothe, Ohio, in car number 99. 18-year-old Jonathan Stevens, and took it off. As I understand it, he flipped the car a couple of times. So we're going to check Jonathan out. He's out of the car. He is okay. Rear end problem completely. The grease is coming out of the rear of that car. So Eddie Sloan got a little bit of a problem there. Like to get a good side-by-side start on that front row. Randy Kinzer in 14 on the inside. Scott Miller in 2M outside as we're about ready to get underway with our first All-Star heat. Clearing out those motors just a little bit. Make sure they don't stumble on them as they begin to accelerate. Looks good as they come into 3. They'll begin to accelerate just a little bit coming off of 3, but they'll really put the hammer down in turn number 4 there. We've got them going. The green is out. Randy Kinzer gets out early in that car number 14. Randy Kinzer, and then it's Scott Miller in car number 2M. Falls into that number 2 position. But look at Danny Smith in car number 92 as he tries to take over the number 2. Randy Kinzer now with a pretty good lead, and Danny Smith has just moved into second now in car number 92. Scott Miller back to third in that car number 2M. Randy Kinzer down the front stretching into turn number 1 as your leader. Then it's Danny Smith in car number 92, Scott Miller in car number 2M. Casey Kane was trying to move up in car number 23, but then another move comes on. A real bunch back here in turn 4. Kenny Jacobs now tries to take over the number 3 position. Kenny Jacobs goes into the 3rd position now in car number 6. Your leader, Randy Kinzer in 14. Danny Smith is 2nd. Kenny Jacobs. Casey Kane now moves in front of Scott Miller to take over that 4th spot now. Randy Kinzer in 14. Danny Smith in 92. Kenny Jacobs in 6. Casey Kane in 23. Scott Miller in 2M. Randy Kinzer really beginning to pull away in that car number 14. Danny Smith continues to run second, now about to be challenged by Kenny Jacobs. Smith at 92 and Jacobs in 6, battling it out for the number 2 position. Randy Kinzer at 14, Danny Smith at 92, Kenny Jacobs in 6, Casey Kane in 23, Scott Miller in 2M. Randy Kinzer in 14, Danny Smith at 92, Kenny Jacobs in 6, Casey Kane at 23, Scott Miller in 2M. A white flag lap now comes out for Randy Kinzer. Danny Smith, Kenny Jacobs, Casey Kane, Scott Miller. Randy Kinzer wins it. Danny Smith is 2nd, Kenny Jacobs is 3rd, and Casey Kane is 4th. And Scott Miller finishes 5th. Those cars will advance to our feature event. Randy Kinzer out of Bloomington, Indiana, at car number 14, your winner of that heat race. There he is. Let's hear it for Randy Kinzer at car number 14. United Express Line first heat, Randy Kinzer, your winner. 2nd spot belonged to Danny Smith in car number 92. Then it was Kenny Jacobs in 6, Casey Kane in 23, Scott Miller in 2M. Those 5 advance to our feature event. From Kokomo, Indiana, Boston Reed in that car number 9. Then it's Jason Dukes in car number 3, 4K of Kelly Kinzer now moving into position. Then it's Rodney Duncan in the white 22. Dean Jacobs in 8, Jared Hall in 51, Roger Mossbarger in 95, Tony Broughton in the blue number 22T, and Dewey Castle in car number 5C. Hud Horton and Boston Reed about ready to put the hammer down with our 2nd heat with the All-Star Circuit of Champions. And we've got them going. Hud Horton at car number 80 gets out early. So Hud Horton on the move in car number 80. Hud Horton continues to lead this one, but Kelly Kinzer in car number 4K running the bottom of the racetrack and running in that number 2 position. Then it's Dean Jacobs in that car number 8 running 3rd. Now Jacobs tries to make a move on Kelly Kinzer. Hud Horton in car number 80 out of Germantown, Ohio continues to lead it. Kelly Kinzer goes up on the racetrack. Dean Jacobs goes to the bottom and goes in the number 2 spot. Hud Horton in 80, Dean Jacobs in 8, Kelly Kinzer in 4K, Rodney Duncan in 22. Boston Reed in that car number 9 running in a 5th spot. Now Dean Jacobs trying to put a move on Hud Horton, but Horton continues to lead it. Hud Horton goes into turn number 1 and car number 80 is your leader. Horton in 80 really standing off the challenges of Dean Jacobs in car number 8. Horton still continues to lead it in car number 80. Jacobs in 8. Kelly Kinzer in 4K. Duncan in 22. Bud Horton really holding off some hard challenges by Dean Jacobs in that car number 8. Bud Horton in 80 continues to lead it. Dean Jacobs in 8 running second. Kelly Kinzer in 4K. Rodney Duncan, Boston Reed. Those are the top 5 right now. And once again, Dean Jacobs is trying to put a move on Bud Horton, but Bud, it seems to have the line and continues to lead it. And now Dean Jacobs takes over the lead. Dean Jacobs in car number 8 has taken over the lead. Bud Horton back to second now at car number 80. Kelly Kinzer in 4K running third. Rodney Duncan is fourth at 22. Then it's Boston Reed in that car number 9. White flag comes out now for Dean Jacobs. Bud Horton, Kelly Kinzer, Rodney Duncan, Jared Hall. Checkered flag is out for Dean Jacobs. Second spot belongs to Bud Horton. Then it's Kelly Kinzer, Rodney Duncan, Jared Hall. Those were your top 5. Dean Jacobs out of Worcester, Ohio. Here he comes down the front stretch. Race fans, let's hear it for Dean Jacobs. There he is, Dean Jacobs in the Junior Holbrook entry. Second spot belonged to Bud Horton in that car number 80. Then it was Kelly Kinzer in car number 4K, Rodney Duncan in car number 22, and then Jared Hall in car number 51. Those 5 will advance. We're showing them the green. The next time around, we're going to wave it at them. Get the hammer down by John Wisman and Craig McGuire. Jim Neer had a real good finish in a recent All-Star race, finishing second. John Wisman and Craig McGuire ready to put the hammer down with that third heat. Looks good now. We've got him going. John Wisman gets out early in that car number 16. And we've got several up here in the wall already. So a little bit of a problem real quick like. Mark Keegan has a right rear flat tire in car number 92 and evidently has some rear damage on that car number 92 as well. So we're going to need a wrecker for Mark Keegan's car number 92. It'll be a complete restart. Okay, we need the yellow light turned off the wrecker, thank you. We're going to get back underway now. Everything looks like it's in the go motion. Ready to put the hammer down. John Wisman and Craig McGuire got it going again. Wisman out early in that car number 16. McGuire in 4, challenging Ellenberger for that number 2 spot. Now Brian Ellenberger moves into the number 2 spot. McGuire back to third, and now McGuire moves around Ellenberger. John Wisman in 16, Craig McGuire in 4, Brian Ellenberger in 20, Jim Neer in 00. John Wisman, Craig McGuire, Brian Ellenberger, Jim Neer. 3 abreast over there. Certainly looked good coming out of that turn number 2 over there. Ellenberger now trying to go to the front. Oh, loses it just a little bit and lost the position. So Craig McGuire now in that car number 4 takes over the lead. McGuire in 4 is now taking over the lead. John Wisman running second in car number 16. Then it's Brian Ellenberger. Then it's Jim Neer in 00. Ellenberger now slides into the number 2 spot ahead of Wisman. Wisman back to third. Neer still holding on to that 4th spot in 00. Craig McGuire in car number 4 down the front stretching is your leader. Then it's Brian Ellenberger, John Wisman, Jim Neer in 00. Craig McGuire in car number 4 with a big lead now over second place Brian Ellenberger in that car number 20. Now Jim Neer goes into the third spot in car number 00. Wisman back to fourth in car number 16. Craig McGuire in 4. Brian Ellenberger in 20. Jim Neer in 00. Wisman in 16. McGuire now with a pretty good lead in that car number 4. Ellenberger in 20, Neer in 00, Wisman in 16, Schroeder in 17. A white flag comes out now for Craig McGuire in car number 4. Brian Ellenberger in 20, Jim Neer in 00, John Wisman in 16, Schroeder in 17. Craig McGuire in car number 4. Brian Ellenberger in 20, Jim Neer in 00, Wisman in 16, Schroeder in 17. Craig McGuire out of Beaver, Ohio, a heat race win. Certainly a beautiful job. He got back out there and continued to lead this one. There he is. Let's hear it for Craig McGuire in that car number 4.
Craig certainly has been coming on the last few years.
Alvin Ropke in 99 and Brian Carlson at 18 paced the field around to wait the flagman's green. Okay, we got the hammer down now. Alvin Ropke out early in car number 99. Ropke into turn number 1 as your leader in that car number 99. Brian Carlson having a little bit of a problem at 18. Greg Wilson on the move in car number 63. Greg Wilson goes into the number 2 spot. Brian Carlson back to third now in car number 18. McMahon out of Orville, California, that U2 now takes over the third spot. Paul McMahon in the U2 goes into the third spot. Alvin Ropke at 99 continues to lead this one. Greg Wilson in car number 63 running second. Then it's Paul McMahon in the U2, Byron Reed in 5, Brian Carlson in 18, Chris Fraley in 3F. Ropke about to be challenged now by Greg Wilson. Ropke continues to lead it, but Wilson trying to move around him on the outside. Alvin Ropke in 99. Greg Wilson in 63. Paul McMahon in the U2. Byron Reed in 5. Brian Carlson in 18. Alvin Ropke laps the back marker now. Greg Wilson gone right with him. But Paul McMahon is gaining on the leaders now. Wilson trying to move down on the inside of Ropke, but couldn't do it, and Ropke still holds on in 99. Wilson running second in car number 63, but Paul McMahon in the U2 beginning to tighten it up now. Alvin Ropke in car number 99 out of Elmore, Ohio continues to lead it. But Greg Wilson now goes to the high side in car number 63. Tried to squeeze through but couldn't do it. Can Ropke hold on? Greg Wilson takes over the lead now in car number 63. Greg Wilson now your leader. And it looks like Greg Wilson wins it. Ropke is second. Paul McMahon is third. Byron Reed is fourth. And then it's Brian Carlson and Chris Fraley. Greg Wilson out of Benton Ridge, Ohio, and at car number 63, a good move. Let's hear it for Greg Wilson. There he is in car number 63, Greg Wilson. Alvin Ropke in 99 finished in that number 2 spot. Held it to the last lap, and then Greg Wilson put the move on him. Rhonda near to the foot of the judges stand, please. Rhonda near to the foot of the judges stand, please. Boy, this is always a quick one. Greg Wilson in 63, Butch Schroeder in 17, about to put the hammer down at the white line in turn 4. 4 quick laps. Looks good. Schroeder in 17, got high on the high side of the track, took over the lead immediately. Schroeder in 17, Jacobs in 6. Jacobs into the number 2 spot. Dean Jacobs into the 3rd spot. Now Dean trying to put the move on Kenny. Butch Schroeder in 17. Kenny Jacobs in 6. Dean Jacobs in 8. Greg Wilson in 63. A white flag comes out for Butch Schroeder. Kenny Jacobs, Dean Jacobs. Schroeder out of Leipzig, Ohio, comes around with that checkered flag. Then it's Kenny Jacobs, Dean Jacobs, Greg Wilson, Casey Kane. Butch Schroeder out of Leipzig, Ohio, in that car number 17. Put the hammer down, and he'll be on the front stretch for the commercial truck and trailer dash.
Good job, Butch Schroeder.
Okay, Butch Schroeder. Good job, Butch. Come on, let's hear it for Butch, winning the commercial truck and trailer shootout dash. Yeah, I got all of it. Can't seem to get it right.
A lot of hot iron out there tonight. Right. A lot of great cars, a lot of great drivers in there.
Only the top 4 will go into the feature. The top 4. I stand corrected. Somebody gave me 5. I say 4. You know, that happens. Chad Kimenall in 15 and Jason Dukes in 3. Ready to put the hammer down. Don't forget, the top 4 go into the feature. Looks good now. Kimenall out early in at 15. Dukes in 3. Chris Fraley in 3. Kimenall in 15 really moved away from second place. Jason Dukes in 3. Chris Fraley in 3F running in the 3rd position. Then it's Tim Allison in car number 11. Boston Reed in car number 9. Chad Kimenall in 15 continues to lead it. Jason Dukes in 3 running 2nd. Chris Fraley in 3F running 3rd. Boston Reed back to the 5th spot. Now Boston Reed is really moving back. Todd Kane in car number 99 on the move. Kane in 99 trying to take over the 4th spot. Kimenall in 15, your leader. Dukes in 3. Fraley in 3. Allison in 11. Kane in 99. The caution is out. We've got one down in turn number 4. Chad Kimenall in that car number 15, your leader. Jason Dukes in 3, running in the number 2 spot. Then it's Chris Fraley in that 3F. West Harbor in car number 19 out of Apple Grove, West Virginia, the reason for this caution flag. And you cannot pick up the throttle till the cone here. You have to wait just a little bit. And we've got the hammer down. Chad Kimenall in 15. Dukes in 3. Allison in 11. Fraley in 3F. Kane in 99. 99 now goes into that 3rd spot. Allison back to 4th in car number 11. Kemenall in 15, Dukes in 3, Kane in 99, Allison in 11, Fraley in 3F. Chad Kemenall, Jason Dukes, Todd Kane, Jim Allison, Chris Fraley. Jason Dukes almost went off of the turn 2 over there, but held on for the number 2 spot. Chris Fraley has moved ahead of Allison now. Fraley in 3F on the move. Kemenall in 15 continues to lead it. Oh, we've got a big one up there. Certainly a wild ride.
Chris Fraley, get it in to the end of the turn 4 wall.
I thought that's who it was. Chris Fraley had made a good move earlier and then got in a little bit too high here in turn 4.
And there's Chris Fraley. Let's give him a big round of applause. He's all right.
That's way up there.
Kemenall got the hammer down and got the lead in that car number 15. Dukes in 3, still holding on to the number 2 spot. Allison in 11, Kane in 99, Reed in 9. So far, those are the top 4 that will advance to our feature. We've got one off the racetrack, look like Jason Dukes in 3. Jason Dukes in car number 3 has taken it off the racetrack. Okay, the green is out again. Allison trying to put a move on Kemenall, but Kemenall holds on. Everybody keeps going. Kemenall in 15, Kane in 99, Allison in 11. White flag comes out for Chad Kemenall, Todd Kane, Tim Allison. Checkered flag about to come out for Chad Kemenall, Todd Kane, Tim Allison, Austin Reed. Chad Kemenall at car number 15 goes into our feature event, along with Todd Kane in car number 99, Tim Allison in 11, and Boston Reed in 9. Those are the drivers who will advance to our All-Star Circuit of Champions feature. Let's hear it for Chad Kemenall. Way to go, Chad. Chad makes his way into the feature event here this evening. Like I mentioned, he already has a feature win this season here at KC Raceway. Okay, race fans, let's all get on your feet down there at turn 4, all the way down to turn 1. Come on, let's hear it for them. They can hear you, so they're going to wave at you, you wave back at them, and they're going to drive a lot harder for you. Come on, let's hear it. Rodney Duncan in 22D on the inside, Casey Kane in 23K outside, as we're about ready to put the hammer down with our 30-lap All-Star feature event. Greg Wilson in that Ford-powered car number 63 on the inside of that second row, outside Butch Schroeder in car number 17. Third row, Dean Jacobs in 8 and Kenny Jacobs in 6 as we're about to get underway. The white line is down in turn 4. They want to get a good side-by-side start on that front row. Looks good. They're beginning to accelerate now. They've got the hammer down. Casey Kane went real high and got the momentum built up, but lost that lead immediately. So Rodney Duncan in 22 got the lead. Casey Kane in 23 now trying to back her down a little bit. Now Kane goes into the lead. Casey Kane in car number 23 back into the lead now. Rodney Duncan in car number 22 running in that number 2 spot. To the 3rd spot in car number 63. Then Dean Jacobs and Kenny Jacobs battling it out for that 4th spot. Now Kenny Jacobs goes into the 4th spot. Dean Jacobs back to 5th now in car number 8. Your leader, Casey Kane in car number 23. Rodney Duncan in 22 running into 2nd position. Greg Wilson in 63 is 3rd. Kenny Jacobs is 4th in that car number 6. 5th, Dean Jacobs in car number 8. McMahon in the U2 now trying to get into that 6th position. Rodney Duncan has taken over the lead again from Casey Kane. Rodney Duncan in car number 22. I think Rodney has 2 career feature wins with the All-Stars. Duncan in 22, Kane in 23. Jacobs in 6, Jacobs in 8. Duncan continues to lead in that car number 22. Duncan now getting into lap traffic, very, very heavy lap traffic. Rodney Duncan, thread on the needle, continues to lead it in 22. Casey Kane still running 2nd in that car number 23, but Kenny Jacobs put the pressure on Casey Kane now. Kenny Jacobs just goes into the number 2 spot. Kane back to 3rd now in car number 23, and now Dean Jacobs has also moved around. Rodney Duncan in 22, your leader. Kenny Jacobs in 6, Dean Jacobs in 8, Casey Kane in 23. Rodney Duncan getting into big, big, heavy traffic problems now. Duncan in 22 trying to weave his way through lap traffic. Oh, got into the back of a car over there. Wouldn't you believe it? A caution is out. And Rodney Duncan got into the back of that stalled car over there. Certainly a bad break there. Duncan kept on going, but he's got some front wing damage now. That puts Kenny Jacobs into the lead in that car number 6. What? Do it. Okay, kept on going. So Rodney Duncan will still be there. Kelly Kinzer running in that 5th position now in that car number 4K. Duncan in 22 about ready to put the hammer down at the cone here. Looks good. Jacobs in 6, going to go to the bottom. So Kenny Jacobs in that car number 6. Duncan in 22 coming right back now. Dean Jacobs in car number 8 trying to put a move on. Jacobs in 16, Jacobs in 8, Rodney Duncan in 22, Kelly Kinzer in 4K. now in that car number 6 over his brother, Dean Jacobs, in car number 8. Rodney Duncan still holds on to the 3rd spot in car number 22, and then it's Kelly Kinzer in 4K, Casey Kane in 23. Kenny Jacobs going to get into this lap traffic real quick, trying to thread the needle to get by a bunch of lap cars now as he goes into 1 and 2. Jacobs in car number 6, and Dean Jacobs trying to go high on the outside to make some moves to catch up with brother Kenny. Kenny Jacobs in 6, Dean Jacobs in 8. Duncan in 22, Kane in 23, Kelly Kinzer in 4K. Jacobs now being challenged once again by Dean Jacobs. We got a caution. A lot of fire coming out from under Greg Wilson's car number 63. Greg Wilson takes the car number 63 into the infield area. Kenny Jacobs ready to get that green. Kenny Jacobs with a good lead over brother Dean Jacobs now. Still trying to hold on to that 3rd spot, even with the front wing damage. Kenny Jacobs in 6, Dean Jacobs in 8. Rodney Duncan in 22, Kelly Kinzer in 4K, Casey Kane in 23. Boy, the Jacobs brothers are really out front now. They've got a half a track over the field. Kenny Jacobs in 6, Dean Jacobs in 8, 1, 2. And we've got one off the racetrack over in turn number 2. Brian Carlson in that car number 18 took it off over in turn 2. Kenny Jacobs accelerates, puts the hammer down, and Dean Jacobs going right with him. Dean going to the bottom now, trying to put the move on Kenny. Jacobs in car number 6, your leader, Dean Jacobs in 8. Rodney Duncan in 22, running 3rd. Kelly Kinzer in 4K. Now, Kelly Kinzer is just to move around Rodney Duncan. Kelly Kinzer moves around Rodney Duncan to take over that 3rd spot. Duncan back to 4th now in car number 22. Kenny Jacobs now getting into lap traffic once again and weaves his way through as he goes down the backstretch in that car number 6. Jacobs into turn number 4 now. Car number 6, Kenny Jacobs. And then Dean Jacobs trying to follow him right through, and now he's right on the back bumper of Kenny Jacobs. A white flag lap now for Kenny Jacobs, Dean Jacobs. Kelly Kinzer, Rodney Duncan.